It's Tuesday.
It's 9 a.m.
It's Minot Talk.
Dang. I'm excited. It's Tuesday. It's Minot Talk. We're back. Jonathan's back. It's really...
You did some podcasts last night.
I did. We had fun. I didn't break anything too terribly while you were gone. I kind of messed up the program a little bit. I apologize. But in general, I didn't... When I went live, there was audio and there was picture.
Well, it was fixed. Because I think, like, randomly, because I was a couple hours behind you.
Yeah.
And you sent a picture of something. You said, like, hey, is this right? I'm like, I think so, but I also think the background is the screen of the computer.
I was like, huh? And yeah, lo and behold, I clicked a button I wasn't supposed to click. That's right next to a button I was trying to click. And yeah, happens. I did. I saved it. I could just copy the other one and it worked out. And I edited some stuff and yeah.
You're telling secrets nobody even had to know.
Exactly, my guy.
That's all right.
Hey, I'm excited that we're here today. We have some fun stuff to talk about.
We do. North Dakota is continuing to provide us news, so we're thankful to North Dakota for that.
I don't think you have audio.
I don't have audio. What a guy.
Do you want me to?
No, you just
Okay, I'll go. Thanks for the heads up out there, folks. So yes, I'm Kyler Collom here at the Dakotan. Jonathan Starr is back. We do have a lot of fun stuff we're going to be talking about today. First off, we're going to break down a little bit more from last Tuesday's City Council meeting. Going to have Jonathan helping out with that, and he's had a chance to take a look at it, so we're looking forward to being able to break that down a little bit further. On top of that, there is an update with the emergency pound services here in town that we'll touch on a little bit, as well as a little update on the Breho trial and a update on what happened in District 28 a couple nights ago, which there were some fireworks going on down in the District 28 region, kind of near Bismarck.
Just classic North Dakota politics this time of year.
It's fantastic, my guy. It never changes. So, Jonathan, welcome back.
Yeah, finally we can be heard. It's all right. It's the life of living in Kyler's shadow.
When you went and looked at it, did it make sense? Was the audio just not on? Did I?
Correct.
Okay.
It's not your fault, actually.
Okay. Hey, it's not my fault.
I'll take ownership for my mistakes.
I'll take it as a win.
All right, let's get into it. So,
Where do you want to start?
Well, let's start off with a City Council rehash, as you put it.
Because I kind of recapped it on Thursday.
Yep.
So I have one thing that I don't think we talked about on Thursday that I do want to announce.
You're into announcing things.
I was.
It's that time of year.
We'll get there. I was appointed to the ALPR review committee.
What's the ALPR review committee?
So it is the new ALPR systems that have been made and approved here in town. When that was approved, Alderman Mike Blessum set up a committee that night to effectively safeguard the process, make it, for lack of better terms, as a watchdog over it. I don't expect nearly anything to come from that. It's going to be at the start of monthly or bi-monthly meeting where we look at all of the data that's been processed through LPRs in the city over that time, any requests that have been made to further them, who made them, et cetera. So we're going to be looking into that. The first meeting is going to be taking place in the next couple weeks here, and I look forward to it. Yeah, no,
congrats on that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Make sure you use your best judgment.
I will try my darndest on that.
I'm sure that's going to be there's going to be some very good discussions, but they could be slightly intense.
Yeah, there's a good chance of that. I plan on being as independent as I can with it. And
right, it's the best way.
Yeah, I want to progress with that, and I look forward to helping out. So I'm glad to be part of that.
Right, for sure.
But on top of
any big, since you're on a committee, I feel like we should be able to ask you some questions here. Any big priorities that you have as you step into that role?
I just want to make sure the things go right. I'm very interested in making sure the process is safeguarded, nothing goes wrong, nothing's overreached, nothing's overstepped. I don't really expect anything to come of it. It's probably going to be a lot of very brief meetings where you look at it and we're able to close the book pretty easily.
All right, already giving us those brief politician answers. I get it. Okay, well, congrats for real. I tease you, but congrats for real on your meeting there, on your appointment there.
K-Hits 106.9, thanks for welcome back. And yes, Kyler did a great job. We will not ignore Kyler's work the past 2 weeks. He did a good job.
I was present.
Keeping the show rolling. Had some good interviews.
Yeah, we did. I got the legendary Joe Skrzyzewski on. I had Sean
this is one that we had actually been working on for a while.
For a long time.
You pulled it off.
Right at the end.
Way to go.
I love it.
Yes.
And then we got last Thursday, I had Casey Brewer on with Animal Empowerment League.
They had some big updates going on.
She had. We'll start with that actually before we go more into city council because that's pretty brief.
Yeah.
So we talked a lot about it on Thursday, and then last Friday there was a special city council meeting to approve the emergency plan for the city pound service. And Animal Empowerment League will be taking over the dog side of that. They'll be working through that county building that the city's leased for the next 6 months. That'll be the home location of it while the RFPs are being worked on from the city.
I see.
And then Hairball Haven is going to take over the cat side of it, watching all the cats, taking in any of the whatever is going to be service needed with that.
And you're taking care of all the exotics?
That's AEL as well.
I was hoping because I might let my lion out on the loose.
You know, how old is it? Is it a baby lion? I'll take it then.
I'm not telling the age because I might get in trouble.
I love it. But no, updates on the city pound service. There's those emergency measures in place. So as of, I believe, the 27th of February is when that service contract ends with Sears Valley Animal Shelter. That same day, the transition will smoothly go over to AEL and Hairball Haven.
That's good. You want to know something? I'm kind of all over the place today, and that's all right. It's going to only get worse.
Today, folks, yes.
But I kid about having a pet lion. I don't have one, and if I did, the city would probably be down my throat. But one thing that's interesting is the deal, and it makes sense, not dogging anything here, but how you can submit how sidewalk requests where they're not being, like when somebody's not shoveling their sidewalk, you can go and submit that through the city app, and it is actually a violation of ordinance. Bro, when there's snow now, like I get a little bit of fear. Fear might be the wrong word.
Anxiety?
Anxiety would be the better word. Not straight up fear, but I get anxiety. I'm like, I was coming back from a trip. I knew it snowed while I was gone. I come back, sure enough, my driveway is full of snow. Sidewalk, there's snow. I'm like, dude, that would be terrible if somebody
sent a complaint in on you. Yeah, my neighbor hasn't.
And then you see footsteps into snow in your sidewalk. And you're like, dude, I'm so sorry. We're going to get this taken care of. I promise. And now my sidewalk is clean.
You have fun snow blowing?
You know what?
Do you snow blow or shovel?
We shovel because our driveway is so small. I feel like although this time a snowblower could have been useful, it's like you get the big machine out, you do it, and then you have to clean up anyways because it doesn't get close. It's like, might as well just shovel. I did half of it, and then I didn't have time to get to the other half, and my wife came in clutch, and so I have to give her a shout out. Yeah,
shout out. They're coming in clutch.
That's pretty big.
That's awesome.
Pretty big. So a huge
finishing off the driveway there. Big shout out.
Definitely appreciative of that. All right, moving on.
You got to avoid that weather last week. Congratulations. It canceled. Made the show with Lisa Hermosillo and I not happen. It was very disappointing.
Oh, yes. Snow. But it was mostly warm while I was gone.
Yeah, for the most part, it was fine, except for that 5-day stretch there. Yeah, right when you came back. Yeah. Good job, Jonathan. Gosh.
Amazing how that happens.
So on to city council from last week. Did you get a chance to check into this a little bit? I texted you a little bit while it was happening.
Yeah, I checked into some of it. Obviously, there was two things that went on. There was the pre-city council meeting, which was the work sessions that are going on
for the budget process.
Are really good ones to watch because there's a lot of great information that comes from those. That's when they spent most time on. Also went and scoured through some of this stuff on the actual city council meeting and looked like there was just kind of a theme going on about parliamentary stuff.
Yeah, you saw that come up last week at our city council, and we'll get into it a little later with District 28 down south, which had a big issue with that too. So last week, we talked a little bit about it on Thursday with Casey, but there was a situation that came up at council. Pretty much the entirety of the meeting was said and done with in the first 30, 40 minutes. It came to the last agenda item, which was the RFP for the pound services. There was a request to suspend the rules to go back to that original contract with SVAS, just briefly summarize it. And that's when a lot of the conversation and questions came in. You had Alderman Blessum calling points of order. And then when they really dove into the minutia of the city ordinance versus Robert Rules of Orders, because there was part of the ordinance that specified what needed to be done. And then if it had other questions, it would refer out to the Robert's Rules of Orders. And when they really dove into it, it didn't seem like there was a specific area where it says for a suspension of the rules, but rather an amendment of the rules. And it was incredibly
confusing.
Yeah. And, in the weeds of the process there.
And it seemed like there was a couple of different routes that were taken to try to get maybe around it.
Yeah.
And it didn't turn successful.
Yeah, there was an effort to try to just bring it up as a separate item then, and it wasn't. It was ruled as the same business by the mayor at that point, who's the chair of the meeting.
Right.
And it was the city attorney had to give her opinion a couple times. There was a couple different points of order called, which means that the chair has to make a decision on something that's on the table at that point.
Yeah.
There was at least a motion or two that got called to the table, and it was incredibly nitpicky for something that felt like it didn't need to be, but there's going to be some more clarity to come from this, thankfully.
That was the interesting part that I saw that came out of it.
Yes.
There's actually a deeper review that's going into this.
Yep. And I think most people are looking forward to seeing that come to light. You're going to have the city staff look at the ordinances a little bit deeper and try to give a rework for council before, I think it was April is when they set the date by, to just provide clarity for a situation like this to come forward again. Because, there's a side of it. Maybe if there is some extreme reason for a need to suspend the rules, it maybe should be necessary to have in there. But also on the flip side, I feel like you do have to agree on that and get it in there at that point.
Yeah, for sure. And then also there was the first date set for your ALPR Oversight Committee, right?
It was to get the date set up by March 7th.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So you don't know.
It's still in the works. I don't think I got an email yesterday, but I didn't look close enough to be fair.
No, that's interesting on the rules. Probably a good clarification, especially honestly, this is a compliment to council as discussions do get more detailed, where you're getting into the minutia a little more. A lot of those discussions, sometimes they go a little bit too far, but a lot of times it brings really good discussion because both sides have looked deep into it and are like, hey, no, this is how I feel. This is how I feel. And you get solid interactions that are going on there, but it's good to have really solid rules on what's going to happen too. So that way you're not getting somebody that just knows the rules extremely well is able to turn a discussion in a certain direction unfairly.
And that's when you start finding the loopholes and stuff, and it just feels unnecessary. But something that happened last week, it maybe in the moment it felt like it was unnecessary to happen at that stage. But if you look in the big picture of things, I think it was a very beneficial conversation that Minot had.
Yeah.
I think it's something that's going to be very helpful for us long term, and it was a good thing to get out onto the table so we can really have this discussion about where things need to progress from there.
For sure.
But I think the really interesting meeting was that budget workshop that came beforehand at 4:00 on Tuesday.
Let's talk about that. But there's a question, and hopefully you know the answer because you're a resident expert on this.
I'll try.
Who's the other ALPR committee members?
Mike Blessum, Mayor Janser, and then Mike. Is it Nance, I want to say, who works at MSU, and then a former police dispatcher. I'd have to look up his name. I've never met him, unfortunately, but a couple people that are very experienced in that industry.
Very cool.
Yeah. So I will be...
You're going to have to hold your weight, man.
I know. I'm going to have to try.
Bring in the big boxing gloves.
Right? Big guns coming in for this.
Right. Very good.
I think it'll be good to provide a more resident of Minot perspective onto the board in that regard.
It sounds like there's a lot of experience, and then almost all sides can be represented. I'm sure there's a side that someone feels should be better represented, but it feels like there's a high contrast in members.
I'll try to be a bridge of that, hopefully, if possible.
Very good. All right. Going to that budget meeting?
Yes. So it was effectively led by the legendary city financial director, David Lakefield.
Dude, he is a legend.
And it was not maybe, I don't want to say it was a, worst case scenario kind of raise the alarm bells kind of meeting, but it was one of those, hey, if we keep doing what we've done the last year or two without actually either cutting spending or raising revenue sources, however that might be via taxes, services, however.
I said the bad word.
Yeah, no, you're good. You look at that and you have to make a determination on how are we going to go forward, because if we keep spending like this, large chance that our reserves are going to be below the minimal threshold that the state of North Dakota requires. So when you look at that, you think, why is that a big deal? Well, especially when a couple years ago we were so high
Right.
with reserves that there was a point where we thought we might be exceeding.
Exactly. So on this, the state requires a minimum threshold of reserves, and then they have a maximum. So you have to stay inside this.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Because they don't
Gotcha.
want the municipality to just bank money all the time from their
Right.
constituents, but also
they
they
don't
want
going bankrupt.
Yes, they want them to stay in a financially solvent area where they can be able to
Right.
work through problems. And
It'd be crazy if they, established a minimum credit rating too.
yeah. Hey, some cities in the state have credit ratings, but
I know. But they struggle with them.
yeah, some of them do. Some of them are good. But anyways, on that same note, a lot of the discussion revolved around, well, with the 3% cap that we have now, we're pretty limited to less than $1 million in budgetary differences with
Right.
especially those property tax
Yep.
revenues or tax.
Right.
Yeah. And it's really interesting to see how they're going to progress this going forward. I think you are going to have to find some difficult cuts to make at this point. Like they have cut off a lot of the fat at this stage, and they've trimmed a lot of areas that we're able to trim. But I think at this point going forward, if you want to keep that budget to a manageable area, you're going to have to find some places to cut. And in the city of Minot right now, that might be difficult. So you might have to make some hard choices. I think it was Alderman Fuller that threw out the idea, and I don't think there was any, a lot of strength to it yet, but it could gain traction of, potential early retirements, things of that nature that you see at a national level coming here.
State level.
Exactly. And I'm really interested to see how it kind of keeps playing out, because this is something that we're going to be dealing with not just for this year, but next year too. And I don't want to necessarily see, I don't want to see a raise on property taxes, period. And their goal is to have a flat budget for the next couple years. Well, in that point, the way they've been helping with the property tax relief and getting the sales tax dollars to cover a little bit of those property tax expenses, well, a lot of that's coming from the reserves. And
I see.
we're at the point now where we have to kind of figure out if we were able to continue we can do it for another year for sure, and it'll be fine. But
Right.
then we'll have really hard choices to make.
And right now we're in a safe zone because you mentioned my understanding is we're in a safe zone.
Yeah.
And what I mean by the safe zone is you mentioned the $1 million that the 3% cap kind of gives us based
Yeah.
off our budget, but we were able to pull from the last 3 years.
Yeah.
So we still have a higher number where we could increase.
Yeah, if we needed to, we could go back up to
several
that.
million.
Yeah.
But obviously after the 3 years, that's going to kind of go away. And then we're going to be working off of the 20. Right now we're right around $21 million budget.
Yeah.
That we're going to be able to work off of with the property tax revenue specifically. That's an interesting deal. So where do you kind of see, what's in path forward on this that you kind of see might be best?
Well, one thing before I get to that I thought was interesting too was City Finance Director Lakefield had a presentation that he had. And he had one slide that showed the discrepancy between property tax dollars and then actual dollars in that it costs that we're spending every year, our actual city expenditures. And over the last few years, that gap is just getting wider and wider. And so you have to find somewhere to make up that ground. And generally speaking, it's sales tax or some federal funding, things of that nature. But with that gap continuing to increase, obviously now you have to either find places to cut, or you have to find a way to bring revenues up to close that gap a little bit, because the further it gets, that just starts, you start looking towards, in the distance, you start seeing red rather than black in the future.
Yeah, and that's not
So
great.
potential ways to go forward for it. Obviously, find some tough places to cut. Start cutting spending in places that you maybe don't want to, but it might have to be necessary. One easy one that they threw out there is you could take another $1 million or $2 million off of road construction costs that go into the city every year, which they've bumped that number up the past couple of years to try and help out with some of the necessary road.
Makes you nervous though.
It does. There's been some necessary improvements needed for Minot roads that have been done, but also it's felt like we've seen some congestion in that time. But there's also been external things that have happened in that time. No one could have predicted the 3rd Street Bridge happening to that degree, nor the South Broadway incident.
Right. Yeah. For sure. At the end of the day, we had a good conversation with Lance Meyer on this, and when you break it down, it was just kind of a worst case scenario. But you go and you look at, and I saw a little clip, and so this is unfair, okay? But there was a reporter. It was a local reporter in the LA area with the mayor of LA, and they were hounding her, and they said no new road construction had been done in over a year, and they were just on fixing potholes, and and it's that's what the mayor said, that they'd fixed 10,000 potholes and the reporter's like, yeah, but it feels like you've basically done nothing. That was the dialogue that was going back and forth. And that's like, okay, because they try to make it Republican, Democrat, blah, 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 right? But at the end of the day, that's the danger of going and putting budgetary stuff somewhere else and putting roads to the back burner, because then it doesn't matter when you do it. It's expensive.
It's still sitting there staring you in the face.
And it's only getting worse.
Yeah.
As soon as it's like a car, as soon as you get it fixed, it's depreciating.
Yeah. And like Lance Meyer said, it's then just trying to figure out how you best prioritize those into what gets done first.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's just one of those battles right there.
Yeah, and that one's going to be tough. And on top of that, then, so that's an area where potential cuts could happen. Yeah. Then that would probably, I don't know, we'll see how that goes. But some areas where other revenues could be gained, obviously, there's a little bit of room for some of the property tax. I don't think anyone on council really wants to see that necessarily, to raise the property taxes back up to the 2024 level. I can't imagine that's probably going to happen. But outside of that, there is a possibility you still have room to raise sales tax if that's felt necessary. No, I don't.
That's running out of room too.
It is. There's less than a penny left on it. Especially that's if the park board gets it approved, and there'll be less than a penny at that point left. And so now going past that, well, you could look at service fees increases. Maybe, that's a very much more targeted area, and you could argue a little bit of
probably not
with
going to
that.
Get that much revenue.
That's the thing. If you increase stuff by a minimal amount of $1 or $2, maybe $5 a piece, kind of thing, give or take a little bit, you're going to help. It's going to give you a little breathing room, but it's not going to be anything major at that point, and it's going to be a one-time thing because you can't continuously raise those service fee revenues every year, and it really makes me think hard about where the city's going to have to find some of these thoughts or cuts at in the future. Or on the flip side, you've heard aldermen and council people say that, we have to be honest about the way of what it costs to run a city. And does that mean that we're going to have to, is that a real, I'm being honest, like, do we have to actually charge more? I don't want to pay more taxes.
Right.
I mean, I'm not at all. I don't have the money to spend on it, but where do we take it from?
I hear you on that, but I think the thing that needs to be added to that statement, you can't end with we have to be honest how much it costs to run a city. You have to add at the caliber or level or whatever that we want it to be.
Yep.
Because
expectations.
I haven't traveled that much, but I've been in different cities and different towns, and you're like, dude, like, I was in one town recently, and it's like, you know what? Our city's pretty nice, and this is supposed to be a nice town. And it's hard to find public restrooms. It's hard to, when you do find one, they're not clean, and just stuff like that. I mean, overall, we have a very nice city.
We do, and I love Minot to that point, and I think it is beautiful, and I like to see it stay that way. But also, is it necessary to keep it at that tip-top level? Because on the flip side of that too, you have people where their perception lies, it isn't to that degree. Even if you could make an objective argument that it's it ranks above these other places, you're still going to have people that live here locally where my street didn't get plowed.
Right.
My road's full of potholes still.
And that's the interesting part. That's the thing that people care about the most, because as a city user, that's what you use the most.
Yep. So who's going to pave and plow the roads and maintain them? Because if you don't, and that goes into a bigger discussion about what government is for at that point.
Right.
You have to make a determination, like, does the government have to provide services that citizens themselves can't cover, or does the government have to take a step beyond that? And I think there's a fine line in that area.
There is.
You can't expect, and back in my younger youth days, there was a thought where you just privatize the roads, man. Pay a toll, it'll be fine, man. It's not how it's not going to work like that in reality.
And you have to have more cameras.
Yeah, that's the thing. Every private road's going to have their cameras on it to identify what happens on the road, and it creates a spiral effect that I don't think we want to see.
Well, this is a conversation we'll probably have more of later time. We got a topic you wanted to go to, which happened in District 28.
Yeah, that was so I'm not uber familiar with District 28 down in the southern part of the state, but that's where Jeff Magrum, a very vocal state representative is from. And the interesting thing that took place was on, I believe it was Monday night, on Sunday night. This was at their delegate selection event for the upcoming NDGOP.
Yeah.
State convention. And from what I've gathered, that this is something that they normally have a high amount of delegates that they can send, and generally speaking, they aren't able to fill all of those delegate seats.
Jeff Magrum is District 8.
Oh, excuse me. I must have read that wrong.
He may have been added, though. The representatives in the 2023, this is old, in the 2020, or in the 2023, 2024 was Robert Erbley, Mike Brandenburg, and Jim Grunick.
Okay, so Brandenburg was the one that was holding the meeting. So that's the one that's important in this specific situation anyways. And I might have looked at something wrong when I was looking yesterday too. So Brandenburg was holding the meeting, and they started off, they kick off the meeting, and immediately from the crowd, you get a motion to dismiss him as the chair of the district party.
Yeah, there you go. That's always good.
And
Let's kick off the meeting with that.
Immediately gets thrown for a loop. And, he says that motion's out of order, where it's not open till like the public side of it or whatever.
Okay.
And that's
so he anticipated it coming
to at least a degree, I think.
Yeah.
And that's when you have Minot local Wendy Bagley, who's
parliamentarian.
Yes, and who's in town. You'll see her frequently, and she is a parliamentarian expert that the District 28 constituents hired to come help and represent them, from what I've read. And she starts, listing off
why it is in order.
Yeah, why it should be in order according to Robert's Rules of Law, and now then it descends into an argument over the district's bylaws. And
it's not a good discussion.
Yes, and so she's arguing that in the bylaws, they can do it, and he's arguing in the bylaws that the only way to get a new district chair is if the current one, if he was to be resigned, he would have to name the appointment.
Oh, wow.
I think is what the argument was on that.
If that was the bylaws, that is incredible.
Barring, I think actual election stuff is different, but if he's to resign kind of thing, he has to name,
so if he
his
resigns
replacement.
out of not outside of his term,
yes,
or inside of his term, if he resigns, then he gets to appoint his own replacement.
Yes, to fill the term. That was my interpretation. That was my interpretation. I could be wrong, but that was how I interpreted it. So you have that argument going on back and forth, and that's when you have a really big guy come up and try to take the microphone away from Wendy Bagley.
That's a good idea.
And that's when the crowd then starts getting all worked up, and he goes away. He goes back and forth a bit, and it ends up to the point where Brandenburg tries to just adjourn the meeting. He says, "I'm looking for a motion to adjourn." He gets a motion in a second, and so he closes the meeting and leaves. But the other group with Wendy Bagley and the constituents that brought her in stay and conduct a meeting and say that because the chair is refusing to look at the point of order, that he's refusing to do his duty, and it is to the people's discretion to name a new chair and continue the meeting.
Wow.
And so I don't know how that's going to play out.
Yeah.
I don't know if anything that took place at that meeting is going to stand. I don't know because now afterwards, Brandenburg said that the executive committee of that district would pick the delegates at this point.
Okay.
Which is a whole different bag of worms.
Because that kind of brings us to the next point of this is you have all these things going on at district meetings across the state right now, and they're all going to come together, or a lot of them are going to come together at the end of March.
Right here in Minot. The Magic City.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting how that goes.
Yep.
Because you already have frustrations boiling over, and if there's frustrations boiling over there, there's probably frustrations with this party at the state level as well. What's going to be said? What's going to be done?
It's going to be interesting to see. I plan on attending just solely to watch the fireworks, for lack of a better term. Obviously, I'm not going to be a delegate or anything, so I'll have to be in the visitors portion above the floor. But I think it's going to be a really interesting debate that's going to be had. I mean, Governor Armstrong has told people not even to worry about attending it.
Yeah.
And so you're going to have two whole factions. You might not even have one of the factions fully represented. So now you're going to have the opposite faction that's going to have a majority there at this point that's going to dictate what can happen with the state party. And now, okay, so this is where I start to have my issues with political parties in general.
This is good direction for this conversation.
Yeah, I think so. I think this. Do you have anything you want to touch on first before I get on my soapbox for a second?
No,
here?
you go on your soapbox, Kyler.
Okay.
Be careful on this box. Don't let it get too slippery.
I won't. Don't worry. It's not raining out.
Good.
So I have issues with these things because this is how political parties work, and this is how they should work because they're private organizations and they are able and should be able to dictate their own rules of how they operate. Now, beyond that, when you have these private organizations that have those rules, you can have people that know them inside and out and are able to exploit these rules in different ways. And that goes for any political party, period. Yeah. And when you have that, that's why I think the primary system is so important for the state of North Dakota and in general, because it allows the people to actually go out and vote who they think should best represent them. However, now this is where the argument comes, because this is a private organization. Right. They should have the right to nominate who they wish as their nominee. And I think that's fair. But also, at what point then do the people get to choose the candidate they truly want in that race? So I've seen an idea get thrown out there where you could have the nominee of the party still get onto the ballot. And the winner of the primary gets onto the ballot, but the primary winner effectively goes on as an independent.
Gotcha.
And I don't know if that would work, if that's feasible, but that was something I saw recently get thrown around. And I just think that when you have these rules in place, they're there for a reason, but they're also able to be exploited. And you can have people that are able to exploit them take command for maybe better or worse. I don't know. But this is where some of the confusion that can lie in some of these district parties.
I definitely think that the Republican Party in North Dakota does have a problem with their nominating process right now. And they need to figure out a way to resolve it, whether it's something along the lines that you're saying where both of them get there, one of them doesn't get the R, but make it where it's harder to get that R, and it's through a very respected process.
Or another,
they can't be rigged.
Yeah. Another idea too is you have the convention after the primary. And then, maybe instead of endorsing that person that won, you're given the option to endorse either of the top two finishers in it, something of those lines. And then still the person that wins automatically gets on the ballot. But if you don't want to endorse that person, you can go with the runner-up.
Part of the reason why the governor is not encouraging people to attend the convention might be because I believe he was censured. He was censured.
Yeah.
He was censured.
Well, by
the party.
Yeah. And I've already heard
and that
people,
means nothing, just that they don't agree with the direction that he goes.
And I've already heard people on, that the opposite faction of Armstrong say that they would like to censure him again, along with Senators Hoeven, Kramer, and Representative Fedorchak. Yeah. And I appreciate the thought, but you're not going to do anything with this except make them mad and further the divide. Right. I mean, you're going to take the party leaders in the state who you don't agree with and maybe don't think should be the leaders, but have still been duly elected to this position and are our most prominent national figureheads, and you're going to censure them, which will effectively do nothing except say that you're mad at them, which they already know.
Is that how you feel?
That's what I see is happening with that.
Yeah, I don't distribute. I don't disagree.
And I'm not even saying that censoring them I'm not saying it's the right or the wrong thing.
Yeah, I'm not getting into the middle of that. It just creates the divide just a little bit deeper.
Yep.
We're going to go to a break, and then I guess we have a big announcement or something.
Do we have anything else to talk about first?
What?
Oh, there's a Breho thing update. I'll hit that first. Yeah, there was a little update with the Breho case. Sounds like it's going to end up getting continued to for 6 months. That they needed some requests. I mean, there's still a chance it could happen here in March, but it sounds like it's
going to happen in Minot.
I'd be shocked if it did still, but I wouldn't say. I think it is much more likely to get delayed, and I think I think it'll get moved, but I think the odds of it staying in Minot are higher.
Yeah, getting delayed. All right, very good. We're going to jump to a break, and then we'll be back to, like I say, we'll talk about a big announcement that's coming up.
In the demanding world of oil and gas, precision, safety, and efficiency are non-negotiable. Unmanned operator drone services revolutionizes how you monitor, inspect, and manage your operations. With cutting-edge technology and expert operators, we deliver real-time data, detailed reports, and actionable insights for our valuable clients. Why risk the safety of your team or waste precious time? Our drones access even the most challenging areas with ease, reducing downtime and enhancing safety across your sites. We take the guesswork out of your projects by offering LiDAR, mapping, and inspection services so that your projects stay safe on budget, and on time. Unmanned operator drone services, where technology meets safety, precision, and efficiency. Contact us today to elevate your operations. Yes, pun intended.
All right, after Kyler's favorite ad, we're back.
The legendary drone operating service themselves.
Yes, pun intended.
That's awesome. Yes, they're awesome, though.
That's Kyler's favorite part. All right, so we've teased it. We have a big announcement coming, and Kyler, you said you wanted to make this one.
I got you on this. So, bad news and good news. My bad news is I think this is going to have to be my last podcast for a while. I think
me.
this is going to be my. I think that's how it's going to play out. You can tell me if I'm wrong, but the reason for that is I'm going to run for city council.
You're diving in.
I'm going to do it. I think I have a good opportunity to be a voice for Minot's next generation. I think that this is something that I can be very effective at. I believe I've covered city council now for the last 2 years. I think I can be a high-level, knowledgeable person to step right in and be effective. I also think I can be someone who can come in independently and be able to bridge gaps between some of the divides we see. I think I have connections on both sides to be able to do that. And on top of that, well, do you have a question for me first before I go into my spiel?
Keep going. You're going great.
Well, I've lived in Minot my whole life. I have a deep connection to the place I call home here. It goes back to the blizzard I was born in 1998, through the oil boom and bust that we've all seen, the recession that didn't really happen here in North Dakota because of the boom, all the way through the flood of 2011 where I lost my childhood home. It also includes then choosing a trade school here in town and becoming a fully licensed massage therapist where I've been able to build a successful career I'm proud of. And I'm able to do that every day. And I love to do that. But that's why this is why Minot's the place I've chosen to build my life. And I've been interested in civics for years, my whole life, as long back as I can remember. I remember voting in a mock election in, I think, first grade between George Bush and John Kerry. And I thought it was the coolest thing because they had these little voting booths for us to go into and we could do it. And I thought it was awesome.
Who'd you vote for? Just kidding.
If I remember Bush, because that's all I knew. I didn't know who the other guy was, but I could be wrong, but I think that's who I did. But I've followed the city government with a very close eye recently, especially. In 2024, I was given the opportunity to cover city council from you, thankfully. So if anyone's at fault for this, it's my fault. It's because of you for giving me a tremendous opportunity that I thank you for 1,000 times over, my guy, honestly. And I've been covering the meetings, the budgets, and all the turmoil over the past year especially. And it's, I think, given a practical understanding of how City Hall works and what it takes to move those issues into reality. I think whether it's helping people every day in my work with the job I do, or it's covering the city with the Minot Talk podcast that I've gotten to do at least once a week for almost the last 2 years now, whether it's going and hosting a debate or coaching junior high football, I've learned the value of not just showing up and being present, but listening and communicating with people and leading a team at that point. So that's why I'm running as an independent, practical voice focused on representing all of Minot. My goal is to keep Minot's future in mind and help make this a city where young people and families can afford to stay and not just feel forced to leave when they reach, adulthood. That means being honest about future budgets and making hard decisions while still protecting our core services here in town. And that's why I'd be honored to earn everyone at home support and be a voice for Minot's next generation.
Well, first off, congrats.
Thank you.
Kind of a big deal.
It is a little bit for me, at least. This is something I didn't expect to happen at this stage in my life. But
so why now?
Well, it feels like there's a point where I can step in right now and I can be effective. There is going to be city council. Paul Pittner is stepping away. He's the youngest city councilman right now. He's around 40. After him, I believe the next city council member is 52. And I have nothing against any of them. I love our city council right now. But I think that we need to have the younger generation represented. And I think we need someone under 40 to help present a voice for Minot's next generation, to have the future and best mind and interest of Minot, rather than, and I'm not saying that our city council is necessarily doing this, but looking in a 1 to 2 year kind of plan of how we're going to get through these next years. I want to help look into how we can get through the next decade. It's been 15 years since the flood. I've said this for 2 years now. It's been ridiculous. We still haven't got our flood control done, and it's still at least a decade away, if not, and that's at the best case scenario if they get all the money they can. Realistically, it's going to be another 20 years till we get flood control done. We'll be sitting at 25 5 years post flood control, you're going to have people in the valley in the next 2 or 4 years that are going to have insurance prices skyrocket, especially if MI4 doesn't get finished with that Maple Diversion project. I really think we need to get that finished, because if we do, just think of what we can do with those sales tax dollars then. We can give them back to the people. We can have a 6% sales tax rate in the city of Minot. It would be fantastic. I just really think that prioritizing that as well would be very beneficial. But
So you mentioned a couple priorities there. What are your main priorities?
Well, okay. So I want to be responsible in budgeting Minot and having a good outlook for our future. I want Minoters to know that I will have the best interest of the city in mind going forward. And if we do have to make some of those difficult cuts going forward that we were talking about earlier in the show, I would be more than understanding of where those might come from, and I would be the one to be able to do that if necessary. On top of that, I want to keep our property taxes low. This has been one thing that we've seen throughout the state for the last few years, where this has been excessively high, and we've seen them lowered here in Minot recently, but I don't want them to be raised any further. At the worst, I want to keep us within this $20 to $21 million threshold that we're gaining right now. If we have to, barring some emergency situation, I'll never say never.
Right.
But
so even because obviously there was kind of like a plug for this earlier in the episode when we were talking about that special work session that happened with finance director, and some of the opinion is to have $24 million be our threshold, but you want to keep it at 20 to 21. Right?
I would prefer that route. I would rather see us find some of those difficult cuts or some other avenue outside
alternate
of that,
revenue
because
sources.
I really don't think that raising property taxes in Minot's going to help right now, especially with the housing issues and shortages that we already have in town. I'm not saying Minot has a shortage of livable space. I'm saying Minot has a shortage of houses to buy. And I think the issue with that is not just homes either. It's new startup homes that aren't being developed in town.
Yeah, well, it's crazy. We had somebody on. We asked, what's the average price of a startup home? It's like $300,000.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
And so much of that is going to be outside of the control of anyone in the city. There's going to be market prices and cost of labor and construction. But however,
point, man.
Yeah, that's where I'm getting. Because if the city is able to actually cut some of this red tape and allow these developers to develop these homes and progress through some of these thresholds and steps without having to get caught up in the whole situation of it, maybe we can bring that price down a little bit to something more manageable and closer to the $250,000 range.
Right, for sure.
I would just like to see a larger availability of new homes for younger people obviously for everyone, but so younger people don't feel like they're forced to leave Minot when they graduate high school or college.
Right, yeah. I guess break down, you've addressed it throughout what you've already said, but break down what it means to be a voice for the next generation. Yeah, no,
I think that before I get into that, I want to talk about.
Of course, you always
ask
questions.
I do.
Classic. Before I get into that, before I answer your
classic
question,
Kyler. So
let me deflect.
I'm in a interesting time frame from where I was born, generationally speaking. I was born in 1998. I'm in a thing that people refer to as the Zillennials. It's the youngest millennials and the oldest of Generation Z. I think that that's a very interesting part to be at in this time right now. You don't see in the city of Minot anyone in the Generation Z getting into politics yet. You've seen a couple at the state level, but largely in North Dakota, for people under not even 30, but 40, you don't see a lot getting into politics right now. I really think that being able to go forward into this with the passion that I have, I can hopefully help get some of the younger generation more engaged in civics. And on top of that, have an eye out for their future. I want to see them stay around here like I did. I love making Minot my home, and I want to see other people make Minot their home. Yeah. I recently had a client at my work where he is a few years younger than me, and he's trying to get into medical school. And that's awesome. Yeah. See someone from Minot go be a doctor, that's great. But now he's talking about how, UND would be his first choice because it's cheap, but he doesn't really want to plan to practice here when he graduates. He wants to go explore and live life. And I get that. I can't blame him. But if we make Minot a place that's a little bit more attractive to younger people, maybe we can get some more of them to stick around.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think the hold on is to come back, make sure that there's something here. Keep the appeal, the magnet that gets these people to come back.
Yep, to keep that interest and that attraction level. Even if you go out to get your education elsewhere, you even start your life somewhere else. But when you get to that stage of starting that family, of needing to go to that second point, that Minot looks like the place you want to go to. It's a place where you want to raise a family. It's a place you want to live and grow. It's a beautiful place. I mean, winners are winners, but generally speaking, it's a place that you want to be at all the time. You have plenty of amenities and things to do in Minot, but sometimes there's always the talk about how there's nothing to do. I I disagree with that. I've been vehemently against that since I've been on the show. But if you go out and look at things, there's stuff to find. But maybe create more
places
opportunities.
all around.
There are. Maybe create more opportunities for people in Minot. Find more practical reasons or more practical businesses to get in here that would have a reason for people to want to stick around. Whether that be cutting more red tape at the economic development level to get those places more involved, that maybe is something necessary. I don't know at this point, but I really look forward to finding ways to get forward on that.
Yeah.
To go forward on that.
You mentioned winters. I'll say it. This winter hasn't been bad.
No, it hasn't at all.
Do
This
we
has been a
jinx
great
it?
winter.
Does that mean it's going to be bad?
I knocked on wood. I can't now.
I think the biggest question I have for you, because if you want my vote, this is something that you're going to have to figure out.
I'm ready.
What are you going to do to get Chick-fil-A here?
See, I would love to cut as much red tape as I can for that. I don't know what is needed to be cut. And so here's the flip side, because we've had the discussion of how...
I bet if you got it where we could have chickens in town, it'd help.
See, I would push for that. I'd advocate for that. 3 chickens in town.
You can have 3 chickens per household?
I don't have an issue with that.
Gotcha.
I don't know if I'll present it, but I don't have an issue with that. If you like that, Minot, let me know. And also, speaking of that, you can find me. I have a new Facebook page that I just created. It's Kyler Collom for City Council 2026. I also have a website, klc4mot.com. You can check that out. It's in development. There's not everything set up yet, but you can go there. You can start following along the process. Expect to see me out and about at as many public events throughout the next couple months as you can. If you do wish to sign my petition to get on the ballot, I will hopefully have one available at Spectrum Fitness that you can stop by when I'm there to sign. And on top of that, I plan on being outside, out and about as much as possible, trying to get to meet as many of you as I can.
Well, we're going to miss you on the Minot Talk episodes, but we're definitely going to be doing a one-on-one interview, so that'll be fun.
I can't wait.
Me either.
It's going to be weird. Now, normally I do the interview. I don't get interviewed.
You're going to get interviewed.
It's going to be wild, man.
We're going to bring the good set of questions.
I'm going to miss doing this, though. This is going to be something that I have. This is one of the most fun, entertaining, exciting, fulfilling things.
Frustrating.
Things that I've gotten to do in my life. And I can't thank you enough for taking the chance on me a couple years ago. And I'm glad that first article I wrote didn't get me the boot.
It was close.
It was.
No, it's been a fun ride, and I'm excited as you take this step into the next foray of wherever you go.
It's going to be fun, man.
Perhaps there's a rekindling of you on the podcast in the future. It's not the reason why it's the end of the podcast is simply because he's jumping into the politics, and so we've tried to go and make it where we didn't have a crossover at that point with this to keep the podcast as independent as possible.
Yep. Got to stay fair, man. I get it. We did it last year. We did it. It's you got to keep this as neutral as possible. And having someone that's running for something get a platform like this isn't really fair. And I fully get that. So
it's no hardships between Kyler and I.
Not at all.
Though we got 12 minutes left.
I know.
We'll probably take a little bit less time than that, but just for old time's sake, is there a certain segment you want to do? And this is totally off the cuff right now that we've done late in shows. Sometimes we jump to sports. Sometimes we've had our hot takes. Hot takes probably aren't the best thing for you right now. Anything like that you want to do real fast? Jump into.
We'll do a hot take. Why not?
Oh, hot takes.
We'll do a hot take Tuesday for
sports too.
See, that's where I was thinking. We'll do a hot take Tuesday here today.
All right, what is it?
A hot take. This is the greatest men's Olympic hockey team that the world has ever seen.
Okay, so we're doing sports.
That's what I got lined up for you.
I got one for you.
What's your hot take, Jonathan?
Kirk Cousins is going to be the Vikings QB.
Starting quarterback?
Probably after week 2.
Okay, fair enough.
Once JJ gets injured.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. I think there's a good chance that they do sign Kirk Cousins.
He's got released, or he's going to be released March 11th. So
yeah, it is going to be official that he will be out and about. So I very much expect to see the Vikings reach out to Kirk Cousins. They don't have a good backup quarterback situation, and I would love to see J.J. McCarthy be the starter going forward, but also on top of that, I really don't know if that's the most practical thing either.
Right, yeah. Very interesting. All right, yeah, but how about the Olympics?
That was wild, man. That USA hockey game was incredible.
Both of them.
Yeah, the women's
Crazy
and the
that
men's.
they both went into OT.
Yeah, both had game-winning golden goals by the U.S. in overtime. Jack Hughes for the men's, of knocking his teeth out and getting all. That was amazing.
What a
Then
guy.
the really cool part is this is in the weeds of hockey now, but a player that passed away recently, his name was Johnny Gaudreau, big American player, had been on past Olympic teams, passed away. He was hit by a car while he was riding a bicycle. Well, one really awesome thing, if you didn't get to see this, you should go check it out. The U.S. men's team went, because Johnny Gaudreau's family was there. They were present in the stands, and they had his jersey out, and the U.S. team went up and grabbed his kids, took them out of the stands, brought them onto the ice for the team picture with them. And that was awesome to see.
Yeah. Very cool for sure. Yeah. There's a lot of jokes that are said to Canada.
Yeah.
That's kind of sad.
Hey, play Freebird, man.
I don't know what that is. Be nice to Canada. But yeah, definitely was excited about that. U.S. did pretty well overall, considering it being Winter Olympics.
Exactly. It could have been we took second, so I'll take that
That's
as
where
a
we
win.
normally take.
Exactly.
Had I think highest amount of gold medals that we have ever had.
Yeah.
At the Winter Olympics.
One thing that I know I've noticed this before, but it was just shocking to me to see it again. I think every 4 years I have to be reminded of this. It's just the sheer amount of volume of sports that happen in the summer. There's just so many more compared to the
It's
Winter
double
Olympics.
almost.
Yeah,
Maybe
like
more than double.
you see. Well, I feel like you see the U.S. in the Summer Olympics coming in with triple-digit medals.
Yeah.
And-
right. Triple. Yep, you're right. It is.
And in the Winter Olympics, we're like 30 some.
We probably have, I don't know what it is, but 60 to 80 golds.
Yeah.
Rather than in the teens. I think what's interesting about, and the same probably could be said for the summer. I don't track either Olympics that closely as far as the individual sports, but it's amazing all the almost repetitive sports that they have. So you get what all can you do on skis? All right, let's take it.
They give you every single possibility that can be done.
All you got to do, and it's still a ton of work. You get the big jump. You get one deal, or see how far you can just fly on skis without dying,
And
because that is scary.
No
looking.
thanks. Hard pass there. Then there's the you have the ski half pipe where they're doing the tricks like you do on the snowboard.
Right,
It's incredible.
And
the
then-
biathlon where it's the cross country
Yeah,
skiing,
which at least that's different.
Yeah.
That's actually, or and this has gotten some criticism, the luge or whatever.
Yeah, sure.
Dude. Although that is okay, some what's going on there, but that's also scary. You're going through that thing how fast,
Oh, you're pushing triple digits in that thing too.
and just one thing wrong and
It's over.
you're hurt pretty bad.
Yeah, you're going flying. Well, and the other interesting that I found out this year was when I was watching some of the bobsledding stuff. It was apparently the U.S. and Germany are the most dominant bobsledding teams. And why was that? Well, apparently they're the only two that manufacture bobsleds that have
Interesting.
that are as good as they are. Everyone else's bobsled manufacturing capabilities aren't quite the standards
hilarious.
of U.S. and German
That's actually
manufacturers.
hilarious.
So why you saw the top five be
So they
US
don't even sell them.
Apparently not, or at least not the good ones.
That is so messed up.
Must have
honestly.
Audi making
Yeah, how frustrating would that be?
bobsleds. Yeah, especially for the Jamaican bobsled team. They're just trying to get there and qualify, man.
Right? Yeah, yeah. For real though, you can't beat them, not because they're better than you, just because they have the better bobsled.
And see, that was the thing that surprised me. I thought there would have been a more streamlined kind of requirement standard for the bobsleds, which I think there are some basics. There's weight and stuff, but a lot of the drag and the specializations they can alter a lot of.
Yeah. What's another? Is there any? And then you have the single luge and the double luge.
Yeah.
That's also kind of epic.
Yeah, those are wild.
As one person
Or the
put it.
skeleton races. Those
Right.
are
But as one person said it, how did the double luge come about? But you have a single luge, and what the guys that didn't make it for the single luge were like, all right, let's just do a double luge. And how do you come up with the idea of doing a double luge? Because that's got to be uncomfortable as all get out.
can't be plan A on that point. That's got to be such tight quarters in that thing.
It's an incredible deal. It's USA did well.
Hey.
And now next up,
USA, LA 2028.
2028 for the Summer Olympics.
Flag football's first year. They going to pick NFL players or flag football players?
NFL players, probably a little bit of both, right?
probably. See what?
No, they won't pick NFL. Do you think NFL will allow it?
Yeah.
You already know that.
I think they've already said that they will. But I think the question is, what will the teams allow the players to go? I think the teams can still block the
I
players.
see. Because it seems like there might be some positions where no, but it seems like, skill positions, you can't tell me that the NFL don't have the best skill positions.
Yeah. Well, that's
and then having a NFL quarterback, like they can just throw the ball.
Think about Pat Mahomes and Justin Jefferson running around
what
out
about
there.
USA loses in flag football?
You see, that would be wild, because you're going to be playing against like German dentists and stuff. Like maybe you can find some people that play in like the European Football League to come do it.
Yeah.
But like generally speaking, that would be an
CFL.
upset of just massive
Huge magnitude.
proportions.
Yeah, we got to make sure we win that one.
Yeah.
They got to get that figured out
Yes.
fast.
Like I know,
Don't lose that.
like if it was real football, there's no chance that it would, really.
because you would get the rugby players in there. Rugby players would form a football team, and it would be the most physical game of football you've ever seen.
Yeah. You're actually probably right. What rules would they have then? Would they choose U.S. or Canadian football at that point? Because there's no like standardized like FIFA for global football.
Yeah.
But hey,
Interesting. Very good. Zach Lutz says, Kylie Collom for City Council. Good luck, sir.
thank you, Zach. Appreciate
With
that.
We'll call it a wrap. Great show, Kyler. It's been great having you a part.
It's been a blast. I can't wait till I get to come back.
Yeah, we'll have you back on at least once.
I'll be here, man.
Yeah, I guess a question I was going to ask that I forgot was, you excited to be about if there is a debate? There'll be a forum at least. I don't know if the Dakota's doing one or not yet. Excited to be on the other side of that?
I'm very excited.
You've been thinking about that a lot?
I have. I'm ready for it. I'm very excited. That's what I live for, man.
He lives for the debate. All right. Well, thanks for coming on, and all the best.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you.